whoever is not on the call, you're watching the replay. And I expect you to be watching the replay anyway, because there's some important information on here that you need to know. We want to make the guest experience better, increase service, make the level of service go up. For a long time, have waited till the end of the guest experience or the guest visit to come to the front desk to do steps 4, 5, and 6 of the 6 steps of service. We wait till the very last minute of their experience with us to handle what goes on at the end of their visit. So we save about 2 minutes to handle a lot of work. And what that ends up happening is literally once the cape comes off of a guest, their mind is already on to their next thing in life. They're finished with their hair visit. So in their minds, they want to go. And they come to the front desk and we were asking them all these questions. Did you want to purchase the products that were recommended for you? When did you want to come back and see us? Your bill is this much money. And what ends up happening is there's this rush to get everything finished. And what I saw in the last week alone, there were 3 people who were wrung out without, and these are just the ones that were brought to my attention that I actually saw. 3 people were wrung out without actually having the correct services on the ticket. So other services were done and they weren't wrung out for the other services. Now we could say, well, that's the stylist's fault. They didn't put it down. In this point, right now, the most important thing is that we get accuracy about it. So I'm talking to you guys, and what we are going to have to do to handle that right now, starting immediately, is nobody is to be wrung out without conferring with the stylist about what services were done. So you can't just look on the computer and say, hi, you're Mary. It says here you had a root retouch and you had a haircut. Okay, that's going to be X dollars. Unless you have conferred with the stylist that is the confirmed services that were done on that visit. Because more often than not, either a service was done in addition, or there was an alteration to a service, or there was something that happened. So what has happened is that people get wrung out. They leave, the stylist has come to the front and goes, oh, well, I also did this, this, and this. And then those services just get left off altogether. Or somebody will say, well, I just gifted them to her. Well, a couple of things. One is if they don't get wrung out at all and they come back again and they get those services, they go, oh, I never paid that much. Oh, you had another price increase? You're going to deal with that. Number 2, and most importantly, is if that's just 3 a week, there's probably 9 a week that happen like that. That's up to that could be $1,000 a week in services that just aren't wrung out at all. And I know, we could say, well, that's their job. That's the stylist's fault. That's not my fault. But one of the things was a while ago when we started to answer phones off site, we went to that because of the circumstances, but we stayed with it. It was to free up the time for the people who are in the salon. So there is more time in the salon to do more with the guests. So we're not doing more guests than we ever have. We're doing about the same number of guests. We also have more staffing than we've ever had. So we have more staff per guest now. So we do have more coverage. And it may not all be desk coverage, but the coverage overall in the salon, we have more of than we have had in the history. So there's more time to deliver more service in the salon. So there is time allowed for that. So most 70% of the guests who come in are getting a color service. They're spending more than an hour in our business sitting in the back of the house, sitting back there for an hour doing essentially nothing. They're a captive audience to us. So we have the ability to go to the back in the middle of the visit and find out, look on the computer, see if they have a future appointment, and have a conversation with them. And those of you that have relationships with the guests, you can go right up to them and have that conversation about when you want to set their next visit up. If you don't, then you would confer. If you're newer and you don't have that relationship, you work with the stylist while they're in the back and say, I want to go pick out some times for her. What do you recommend? I want to give her some times while she's back here so that we could start to work on the next visit while they're still in the business. That's step 1 that needs to be changed so that instead of hugging the front desk, you don't need to. We have time to go to the back, spend time with a guest, a minute or 2, whatever it takes. then go back up front, get that information about when we should see them in the future, and report that back to them, or go ahead and book it in whatever way you have discussed with them. So, two changes. One is make sure. So if you're not doing that, they already have the appointment. Make sure that you confer. Now the guest comes to the front. You don't know what's going on. The stylist is gone. They're off to their next client too. Excuse me, just a minute. Let me go check with Jade. Let me go check with Lori. Let me go check with Chris, whoever it is, and go find out, are the services that are on the book, is that correct? Is there any changes? What products are there? So now, in an ideal world, the 6 steps of service would be done. So the products would be up front. The next visit date would be up front. You would already know that. The corrected services would be there. So that's not happening right now. And because that's not happening, as you start to be there for the stylist all the time, hey, what services were done? Hey, what services were done? On every visit, we're going to be forcing them to then start to complete the visit if they haven't already. So that change needs to happen right now. So you're no longer going to guess who the person is and what the services are by looking on the book, because I've seen it happen. Just looking and saying, oh, you're, and then looking on the book and seeing what services were there. And just because they're there, that doesn't mean that's what we charge them for. So we've got to get that accurate. And it makes us look silly when we don't do that right, because we have all the information right there. We just need to take a minute to go do that with each guest. So,
and we can even make it sound like I just try to be aware when people come in, like I always try to be aware of who's coming in soon, whatever. Like I make it I mean, I'm working on it myself as well, but being aware of looking, okay, this person doesn't have their next one. Oh, they're with Edgar. Like, yeah, they need their next one, or they're not. Like, that's crucial right now. So, and you can even make it sound like, instead of making, if you're don't know how to approach it, walking up to them and just saying, like, I'm just checking on you. I noticed, why they're processing. They have all that time in the world, so it's not super awkward. Like, I know it might sound like it is, but and then it helps us at the end, instead of having 5 people standing in front of us to check out. It's one step already done.
Yeah, they're already there. So why wait till the last minute? So that's something that just has to happen now. We can't, especially with the mistakes that are being made, because it's a little different now with this system than the old system. You could ring somebody out on a credit card with the old system, have the wrong person, and still cover your ass with it because you didn't ring them out, because timely, you didn't do anything on timely yet. So you just put in the numbers on the other person, so it was easier. And you can't do that now. Now it shows up on the guest visit in addition to, is it the right one or not? So you want to look to see also, before you ask the question, did you want to make your next appointment? This software is designed to book the appointment before you ring them out, by the way. So the order should be, get their next visit on the book, have that conversation, and then do the ring out, which would make sense then that you're working on that next visit with them while they're in the business. Now, this is a transforming of the way we do it. So it's going to take some getting used to, because it's not the normal. It's not how we've been doing it for year after year after year after year. We have these giant front desks, which go back in history. I don't know why, and they're still enormous, and they're not really for us to hover around and be by anymore. I'd rather you be with the guest and relating to the guest than, hugging the computer screen on the checkout for those last 3 minutes. And then then you're going to have a problem with your credit card machine, or your internet's going to go out, or whatever's been happening. If you have half of that done in the beginning, that's really a big part of it. So I want it to be really, 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 really clear that, especially if you don't know if you're newer and you don't know the guests, you don't have that relationship with them, you don't know what has been done, you have got to check with the stylist before you ring them out. That's critical. Number one. Number two is, while they're in the salon, you're going to work on your future visit time with the guests. You're not going to sit and wait. There are stools at the front desks, and I don't know why those need to go, because that's not the point of that. I'd rather you be sitting on the couch with a guest than sitting in a stool behind a computer screen. But that's another story right now. Just really important right now that this shift, this changes, this happens right away, that there's some conferring going on with the guest. Any questions, comments?
Hi, sorry. I was on my computer and for some reason there was no audio. Sorry about that.
Okay, good.
I have guests coming in, so it might be off in a minute.
Okay.
No, just like you said, I think making sure that as the clients come in, we see who already is pre-booked. That way we're prepared to. Sometimes when they come in and I know that they're not booked and they're sitting there waiting for their stylist, a lot of times I'll say, did you want to book your next appointment now while you're waiting? I mean, that's another good time to do it. Why not? They're standing there talking to you anyway. You might as well get it done with.
Yeah, it really does them a great service. It saves them time.
Well, and also it's something even like when Becca's training Eliza today. I mean, that's something she can teach her today. That can be part of her training as we integrate new employees. That can be an
They're not
automatic.
going to know any other way, right? They're not going to know it. This is just the way we're doing it now. So that, and whatever that verbiage is, that's probably got to be refined to how that conversation is had in the back too. And for those that for Sophia and Eliza and whoever is newer, Sam, when you're going in the back and having conversation with, you're probably not going to go directly up to the guest. They don't know you. You don't have a relationship with them yet. Working with the stylist to work on the future visit is probably going to be the access to it. And everybody else, those of you that have relationships, that's a different thing. But as this new practice starts, now here's the other thing, because people may say, oh, well, I don't want to, I don't even know if I'm going to love my hair yet. I don't even know if I want these services yet. But the thing is, you want to educate people about the new system. Is that, okay, here's the deal with, we're going to put you into a future appointment. And it is so simple for you now to change it or cancel it. You could literally one click and it's canceled. So you'll have it. If you decide you don't want it, it's very, very simple to move or change without even making a phone call. Moving appointments is much easier. So you want to let people know that too in the process of that pre-booking. And you'll have a lot less resistance with pre-booking when there's more time. You're not going to deal with, well, I'll just have to check my schedule, because they're already checked out. They're done. They're in their car, they're 10 steps ahead, and they don't want to deal with it at that point anyway.
I think that's a great idea, confirming with the stylist what services were done, because when I started at ROP, we had the tickets and Millennium, and that's how we did it. We had to confirm the services, get a pre-book date, and some products. So I'm really loving that we're bringing that back. It's so important to the guest experience. And with the emails as well, I think that is great. I've had some guests say, oh, well, it's not for sales, right? So I make sure I let them know, no, you're able to access your history, move appointments, cancel, but you're always more than welcome to call me. And when we're at the salon, going to the back, I used to love, one of my favorite things is just going back and saying, hey, I'm Mickey, if they didn't already know me, just while they're processing, can I get you something to drink? How are you doing? Like, just starting little conversations that can build that relationship with us. That way, when they keep coming back, it's just so much easier to get them down on the book. For me personally, that's how it's been working, or how it worked out in the past.
It's so funny that Mickey said that, because I was literally just thinking about that. I was thinking how if you're a stronger desk coordinator training somebody else, what I try to do, and sometimes maybe I'm awkward, but like it builds a stronger relationship between you and the guest, even if I bring bringing somebody newer back to them and being like, oh, hi, like we already have a relationship with them, introducing them to somebody else that's new, saying, this is Sophia or XYZ. She's gonna we're gonna help you schedule your future appointments, because I noticed you don't have any and we gotta get you in or something. So that opens that door, and it creates a level of comfort and service, because they feel like, wow, they're coming directly to me to make sure I'm taken care of, and it's personal. Like, it doesn't have to be awkward. And how Mickey also said about the email thing, or when I asked somebody yesterday, I said, I noticed we don't have your email. Can I have your email? And he's like, no, because automatically people assume that's for sales stuff. But I was like, well, we just got a new software, and you can actually edit your appointments by yourself, and that automatically changes their. He was like, well, yeah, sure, let me put it in then. So it automatically changes the tune.
Yeah, great what you said about that. for a couple of reasons. One is part of the relationship building is why having more time is part of what we want to have happen anyway, is for there to be a level of relatedness so that they're comfortable with you, and building that relationship with people is more critical than anything. So it's not even just the rebook or the pre-book, but it's more about getting out from behind that great giant desk and building a relationship with somebody. So and the second part of that is, you will notice that if people go in and book online now and we don't have an email address, it will force them to create a new profile. So there may be somebody, you have to be cautious of that and notice that. So emails are really, really important. We don't have everyone's email, and it is critical part of it, even though they do get the text. But for them to work around in the system, to look at all their history, to see what services they've had done, to know what's happening, to move appointments and things, it is important for us to have the email, not for us to sell their email or do anything with that. It just makes their side of the equation easier. So for whoever is not on this call right now, this is a stopping point because I want to make sure this is really clear. So I don't see Gustavo on the call. I don't see Sophia on the call. I don't see Eliza on the call. So anyone else?
Becca now
What's that?
too, I think. Becca
Who?
left too.
Okay. So whoever's not on the call this very minute, please indicate to me that you saw this part of the video and you know now what the new practices are, so that you're clear about that. I want to make sure that that this new way of doing it starts now, that no one gets wrung out. Sam's not on the call either. So Sam, for you to indicate wherever you're watching this, make sure that I get a message from you that you know what the new practices are and you're clear about that. It's critical that that happened today, that people get wrung out properly. Also, that we're not just doing, the automated script. Did you want to book your next appointment when they already have 5 appointments? Looking and knowing, being in their world, taking care of the guest from a personal experience. Okay. So any more on that? Anything else? Yeah, buts, what if?
Um, no, I was just gonna say that happens a lot where stylists will change the services and then they don't come up and tell you. So I always try to make a point to like ask you exactly what they did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great practice, and now it's just got to be something that we have to do. And when we get the back of the house talking the front of the house the right way, because it's real easy for us to say, well, it's their fault. Yeah, but also who gets hurt is the customer and the business ultimately. I mean, $50,000 a year, that's new shampoo bowls. That's one person's salary. That's a lot of money walking out the door. So it's 100% your responsibility to make sure that's handled correctly, and to make sure that we ring people out properly and that we're getting paid for the services that were performed. It's real easy to just say, well, I'll just comp it. I'll just gift it. We missed it. Oh, well.
There's enough bodies between associates, and we might have to train associates, since we haven't been continuing to do that, to make that a part of them as well, put them a part of it as well, like teaching them, because then that'll create stronger stylists as they grow into stylists. So even if if we're busy up front or something, finding a way to create that so that it's able to happen, because there's enough bodies that we should be able to create that experience.
We have more staff now than ever in the salons for the guests that are there. We're very well staffed, and it might not be all desk coordinators, but we do have the right amount of staff. So yes, you do want to partner with the other people in the salon. That's important too. But ultimately, it stops with you. So it's important for you to rally those people around you to get the support that you need in that way.
And that's definitely, that's part of the 6 steps for the associates too, and that's what I'm starting to work on at Bayfront, with the associates, is looking at that, making sure that the services are adjusted in the, in the schedule, so that they also know, and then bringing up the product. So we really do have to, it's not even, we have to train the associates to do that. That is part of their job, because they're the ones that are closely working with the stylists. We're not back there seeing what they're doing. They are. They're the ones mixing the color. They're the ones, doing those treatments that nobody tells us about. So it's very important for us
And
to
they can
start working
also,
with them.
they can also say they don't have their next appointment too, also. So, those are all things that they can be looking at ahead of time, being on, and communicating that to us as well.
Yeah. So don't be afraid to work with them on this and have them be your partner in this, but ultimately it's going to stop with you. So hold them accountable for it is one way to do it. Make sure that they are walking the guests to the front. And if they're not, they're preparing you in advance for what services were done. If you're not going to go to the back, if you're not doing that, but if they don't do that and that doesn't happen, then you got to do that. And even with the products as well. So critical. We'll have more follow up on that, but that's got to start today for everyone. All right. Short tips, techniques.
Well, and part of what you're saying, because I know, like, I was telling Rob, my dad, the other day, how I don't like how it doesn't take us to the calendar, but that's why it's so critical. The rebooking part is so critical, because ahead of time, because it does still have that rebooking on the side, and that makes it so much easier rather than typing in their name and et cetera, et cetera. So that's why this part is so crucial.
Designed to do the rebook first. Okay, what else in the system, Marina?
Yeah, one that I just learned from Gustavo is that, they can actually change their appointments, cancel their appointments, and view their appointments by clicking the confirmation text. So I think that's brilliant. Make sure you let everybody know that we have that capability, because we had a hard time trying to either print it or try to email it. So now it's much easier. You just show them. Just go. I booked myself so that I can have it on my phone, and then I can just show them, right on the phone, and just say, click on here, and look, it shows you all of your appointments. You can move them. You can do anything you want. It's just so easy. You don't have to go through the whole explanation of, I don't really know how to text you. I don't really know how to, print these. Just show it to them right on there. It's great. And then another thing I've noticed, if we can, those texts that are coming in on the left side, if you're looking at them, if you're doing something about them, make sure you click that complete button so that we know that it's been taken care of. Because some of them are just confirmations, but some actually do require us to do something. And then we don't know if anybody's handling them. So if you guys are looking at it, it just will show so-and-so looked at it at this time, but it doesn't, we still don't know if they did something about it.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't realize that. I might have done that. Okay.
Yeah, so if you actually click on the text on the right, there's like a little check mark, to let us know if
Can
you
you see
got
this?
that.
Can everybody? Can you see the screen now? I'm on that screen. I just want to show.
Yes.
Okay, so the check mark is right up here. So if the conversation is complete, if you responded to them, if you handled their request, then you would click on that check mark right there, and that closes the conversation. The conversation doesn't go away; it's still there. You can go back to it, but it says down at the bottom, Robert DeLillo Jr. closes conversations a few seconds ago. That just means that it was handled, whatever the question was or whatever it was. So that's important to do, because sometimes people don't cancel it. They'll just send a message that says cancel.
Right.
They're not actually clicking on the appointment to say, I want to cancel this. They're just, so when that happens and you do cancel it, just make sure you click that little button there. Now, if you click it and didn't mean to click it, there's a little reverse arrow there that you can click that will take the check off. So then it knows. And, one more thing to put in your daily practices to make sure you're reviewing is the reviews that people give us. So that is under manage and then ratings. And the reason why you want to keep an eye on this is because this is instant feedback for them. It's not like they have to go out to a website. They literally, if they get an email from us, which is their receipt, which we want to be sending them when they check out. So there's transparency around what they had done and what they had gifted and their services, so that they know what the visit was. there's a little thing at the bottom that says, smiley face, sad face, whatever it is, that they get to rate the visit and put a comment about it. So it doesn't go out onto the internet. It stays right within us. So if there's something there about, that somebody wasn't happy with, we can address it right away. So you want to be looking at those on a daily basis. All right, well, we're going to do something more thorough around that, but we got to get going because I know we got to get the day started for everybody, and we don't have everybody on this call. So if you are watching this, if you're watching the replay, so that would be Sophia, Gustavo, Sam, whoever else dropped off of this call right now.
Do you just want to tell do you want to go over real fast with Becca? She's back on about with Eliza today because she's working with Eliza today.
Oh, and Eliza's the other one on the who is not on the call. So she's the other one who will be watching the replay.
Specifically, like what we were saying is teaching Eliza today as guests as they're processing, finding out from the stylist what they had done, and then maybe you can even go back there and introduce them to her, Becca, and then say, we noticed you don't have your next appointment. We just wanted to check and make sure this is okay, or is this what you want, X, Y, Z. So then that's how she knows to do it, especially as a newbie.
Okay.
Thanks for being on the call.
No, I think that's it. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for setting it up. Thanks for re-watching. Those of you that have watched this, I'll see you soon. And thanks for making these changes, putting them in effect right now, so it makes the guest experience better. Have an amazing day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Happy
Bye, guys.